Flying remote-controlled cameras could play a huge part in the future of policing in Lincolnshire. The force wants to train 80 officers to operate drones like these, saying that the technology can provide round-the-clock help for pursuits, searches and even crime scene investigations. It wants to base drones at its 4 main stations. But one expert has warned that they could intrude on privacy and say it's vital that police give reassurances to the public before they start using them. Joe Makel's report features some scenes of hair coursing which you may find upsetting.
They're being increasingly used by police and other emergency services. And the Lincolnshire Force wants drones available to its officers 24 hours a day across its large rural county.
This gives us the ability to search great big open farmland very, very quickly. The speed of this particular aircraft in a pleasant day when it's not windy is 50 miles an hour, so they can really get to places very quickly.
They could be used to tackle crimes such as hair coursing, a huge concern for farmers who say criminal gangs regularly trespass on their land to take part in this illegal blood sport. The onboard cameras have thermal imaging and can zoom in.
At about 60 or 70 metres high and 80 or 100 metres away from a target, and he's in a field and you think he's got a weapon, you can see how many fingers he's holding out. And if you want to transpose that to hair coursing, we would be able to see how many dogs, how many people, and make a model of car.
We can head towards that target.
And those getting the first batch of training at Metheringham Airfield can see other potential uses.
To be able to use it for searching abilities for missing people and vulnerable people would be really good.
If we're looking for somebody who's at large, it would be a fantastic tool to be able to just monitor and see where they are.
Drones will not replace police helicopters. They will still be needed to pursue moving vehicles. But Lincolnshire Police say drones offer flexibility and are worth investing in. The entire scheme will cost the force about £200,000. It wants to train 80 officers who will need a Civil Aviation Authority licence. And they'll be based at its 4 biggest police stations, Lincoln, Boston, Grantham and Skegness. Now, while there are acknowledged cost benefits, the increasing use of these flying cameras has also prompted concerns about how ordinary people's privacy might be affected.
We're used to CCTV watching us all around, but to me the drones can watch in your garden and everything, and to me it's invasion of privacy.
As long as it reduces crime, it's fine, yeah. It's got to move with times, with technology, haven't you?
Possibly just to know what the overall plan is for them, really.
People will worry that drones will be misused by certain members of the police forces. I think it's absolutely crucial that the police do engage with the public, but I think the police have got to be err on the side of caution in respect to what they're filming.
We will only record and turn the camera on when we need to record something, and we'll be retaining the images only when there's a police necessary purpose to do so.
The force says the first trained officers will be based at Boston and the entire rollout will take about 2 years. Joe Makel, BBC Look North.
Well, joining me now is the Lincolnshire Police and Crime Commissioner, Mark Jones. Commissioner, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Is this technology giving you a good, cheap, inexpensive way of policing with little not to like?
Well, I think it's an additionality to what we've got. I mean, obviously if we get a missing person at 2 in the morning, getting them back safely is of paramount concern, and being able to get that capacity in the air quickly will save lives, and you know it adds to the police force and gives us additional capability, which is important.
But this comes a day after a police officer used his helicopter to film people who's been jailed. Many people watching, as we heard there in the report, will have serious privacy concerns, won't they?
Well, I would say several things. Firstly, that that particular officer was held to account for his actions, and rightly so. It was an appalling situation. We have a National Surveillance Commissioner who I've already been in contact with. I've had reassurances from the force that we will comply with the National Surveillance Code as set out. So there are reassurances around that to protect the public. And actually, the unregulated up to now use of drones by the public should be of greater concern to the public. We want to make sure that we're protecting people in our society.
So winning the public round on this with regard to privacy, you think is a doable job?
Well, I mean, I've run small surveys of several hundred with people, and overwhelmingly, I mean, we're talking 90% plus people were vastly in favour of this technology. And we're talking particularly it being of value in wide open spaces, whether we're looking for missing people, whether we're looking for a criminal that's run across a field in the middle of the night, and officers can't see those people. So it's really helping us across a vast rural county.
It is a change, though, isn't it, in the policing role, training 80 officers to fly drones to track suspects or gather evidence or whatever. That is taking the work of an officer, isn't it?
Well, it is, but in the same way that we have dog handlers who are response police officers who happen to have a dog in the vehicle, so if a dog is needed they can use it, but the rest of the time they're doing normal policing, and it'll be exactly the same for drone pilots. They'll be normal police officers responding to incidents, deploying drones as and when required.
Somebody emailed me about this earlier on today when we knew we were talking about it, saying, you know, drones are still not proven in being any more than a glamorous toy. Do you reject that?
Absolutely. I mean, Lincolnshire Police have been running a proper trial that they've been evaluating to make sure that rolling this out would be of value, and obviously I'm very keen to make sure taxpayers' money is spent wisely. But if there's somebody with dementia and they leave a home in the middle of the night, getting them back quickly is really, really important, and that can take tens of officers to do that, where a drone will cover that ground so much faster to help get them back safely.
Commissioner, very good to talk with you tonight. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.